What is up, everyone? It's Gage here, and today I got special guest, number one tight end in the LFA league, Tommy Auger. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gage. It's an honor to be here.
Now, I talked a little bit about your career before we started this, but I kind of want to talk about your experience, like going through college in these different leagues. Like, what kept you going through all the struggles with that, and not always meeting your expectations?
Yeah. See, for me, it's just always been just the love of football. It's been something that I've, always found joy in since being probably the age of like 7. So, just the love of football keeps me going. I like the competition. I like competing at as high of a level as I can, and it pushes me to become a better person in a lot of other aspects of my life, makes me work hard, and keeps me disciplined. So,
Yeah, looking at like each year, just to kind of give a quick glimpse of like this past year, like you broke your touchdown record in LFA from the year prior. You didn't get as much receptions, but you contributed in a huge way and became the number one tight end once again. What was your kind of process going through that and improving from the year prior?
yeah, just I feel like I'm always looking for ways to get better. I watch a lot of film of opponents, but also of our practices and of myself to see what I can kind of improve on. So I'm always watching the film, trying to get better that way, and then staying on the field and in the gym, trying to get faster and stronger. So that's always kind of the goal, is to get better, and it's been good, knowing that it's been paying off.
Do you have any like workout regimens you do, or have you like increased it from the year prior?
It stays about the same, but I try to always improve in each of the exercises. Get uh, lift more, run faster. So the process hasn't changed too much, but it's always kind of the same goals of do it a little bit better than I did it last week and last month and last year. So always just trying to improve. I haven't really switched too much of the process.
Well, it's definitely helped in a big way. Like you hold the record for I believe the record for the most touchdowns in the LFA, and that's certainly not easy to do. And I kind of want to talk about like the struggle, like in the Guardians, you're drafted very high, so you had idea that you're going to be on the roster and not making it, but going into a different league where you had a lot of success in. What was your kind of mindset with that? Because I know it couldn't have been easy. Kind of switch your mindset from that to another league and going somewhere else you didn't expect to.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to get released from a team. I could make all the excuses in the world, but the bottom line is I can't control the decisions that are out of my realm. I can't make the decisions for the coaches or the GM. All I can control is how hard I work and the time I put in. So, as long as I feel satisfied with the effort I've put forward, I can kind of fall back to that and feel comfortable with it. Uh, with the Guardians specifically, it was we switched offensive coordinators halfway through camp, so that definitely didn't help. So the kind of the outlook we had as a team, from the time of the draft to the time of the first game, changed a little bit. But I was happy to right away pretty much get another opportunity, another contract to go play down in Mexico and be involved with a great organization and have great teammates around me there.
And what's it been like? Because I know you like that was the first time you went to play in a Mexico league. Because early after college, you play in an Australian league. Like, did that kind of help you prepare to go into like another country and like play football there?
Yeah, I guess it kind of just got me used to, living somewhere else. Like you said, my first football contract was in Austria, which was also a really great place. It was a fun place to live. I really enjoyed the time I had there as well.
That's very interesting. I had to look at it again. I was like, Australia. That's like coming from Minnesota to Australia. Like that must have been a journey.
Austria, like the country south of Germany. Yeah, and then not Australia. I haven't been there yet, but I hope to travel there someday.
Well, how was it like being in Germany? Like, I'm not sure if you've ever been out of state because you lived in Minnesota for a long time, but how was your experience there?
Yeah, Europe was awesome. It was definitely a little bit different way of life, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Had to learn a little bit of a different language and get used to kind of how things are there, just like societal things and living things like when they have a different way that they do their garbage. And I'm used to getting groceries on Sunday, but their grocery stores are closed on Sunday, so there's just small things that you got to adjust to, but for the most part it's really kind of the same as living here in the United States.
Yeah, I heard because I have a couple friends that are kind of out of the country. Like they talk about like even the food is a little bit healthier than in the United States.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can definitely tell. You know, just you're doing the same workouts as you do here in the U.S. and kind of eating like the same types of foods, but I think the quality of it is noticeable because you really see a difference in your body when you eat, you know, the same things there that you eat here. It's a pretty noticeable change. So yeah, the food is definitely very very good quality over there.
Yeah, once I get into more travel, I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out because United States, now looks like it's starting to go improve, but yeah, the food quality is everyone's kind of taking notice. Like this definitely is probably shouldn't be going in our bodies.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be putting in your body every day, but uh, you know, all we can do is make the best effort we can, right?
Yeah, as long as we improve our health like the best we possibly can, that's all you really can do. It's not always like, oh, let's go on a full on diet without even really looking into it. So it's always just improving day by day. It's as far as athlete, you probably have a similar mindset.
Yeah, definitely try to eat as healthy as I can.
And I wanted to talk about like going for the United States because you did have experience earlier in your career, but how was it like going for the United States then to the Mexico League, which you probably hadn't too much experience in? It was your first time.
Yeah, the quality of football down there is very good. It's a little bit different than Europe. In Europe, most of your team's comprised of European players. You're only allowed to have two Americans on each side of the ball. In Mexico, you're allowed to have eight on each side of the ball on the field at the same time. You can have more on your practice squad, but on game day, you can only have eight offense, eight defense Americans. So um, the Mexican players are also very good. They have their own NCAA equivalent down there. They have college football, so these are guys that have been playing for a long time and kind of made their way through the ranks as well. So the quality of football down there is very good.
And how did you get in contact with them? Because I know it was, I think it was maybe a month after you got released by the Guardians.
Yeah. So the quarterback for the team I play for, he had just reached out to me. He said, "Hey, would you have any interest in playing in this league down here? If so, I can send your info to our GM and our coaches." And I was looking for an opportunity, so took him up on it after kind of getting the lowdown from him and talking to the GM about what the contract would look like. So yeah, it was pretty nice to kind of have that opportunity so quickly after getting released.
Yeah, I was, and you had great success. You became number one in the LFA with yardage and touchdowns.
Yeah, for tight ends, there's some receivers that had more, but it was I trying to always be the best at my position if I can, and do things as well as I can, just to help the team, but also show what I can do.
Yeah, even you broke the reception record that was previously 54, and you got 64 in 2023. That was impressive. Like especially your first year coming in and you're number one your position.
Yeah, yep, and I think a lot of that is due to having such great teammates and being part of a very good team.
And how was it like building chemistry with a whole new team and the coachings and the GM?
Yeah, it takes some time, obviously, to learn a new playbook. Mostly the terminology. I mean, football for the most part is very similar wherever you play. I mean, there's only so many things you can do, within the rules, and there's only so many things that work. So really, the main thing is just kind of getting on the same page with how a quarterback sees a certain play, getting used to the terminology that we use, and just working on the chemistry of if you see this, we're gonna adjust it a little bit, and small things like that. But for the most part, it's pretty quick to get used to the new team. Yeah, so it just took really a couple games to kind of get into the flow of things. I got there halfway through training camp as well, so I had a little bit less time to learn, but it all worked out.
Yeah, it's are you planning on coming back this upcoming season, or are you kind of looking at all options?
I mean, always looking at all options, but I do think that I'll probably go back. I don't. It's not nothing's official yet, but I wouldn't want to play for any other team in Mexico besides the Fundadores.
Yeah, it's you got a good chemistry there, and it looks like a really good team. I believe you guys made the playoffs like the past 2 seasons.
Yep, we made the playoffs, made it to the semifinals both times, and got beat by the same team. So hopefully, coming up on this next year, we can improve a little bit and make it to the championship and see where things go from there.
Yeah, you guys got a good team, man. From your statistics, man, like every year you're improving. So I have no doubt this year will be even better.
Appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, you mentioned I saw that you were actually born and raised in Minnesota and even played college at St. John's University. And I got to ask, are you a Vikings fan?
Yeah, I like the Vikings. They are probably my second. They're my second favorite team, though. I'm always been partial to the Denver Broncos. So
Now I'm really curious, what makes Denver your number one team?
so my hand-me-down clothes when I was younger were from my godfather's kid, and since they're a Broncos fan in that family, the jerseys I would get from him when he would outgrow them would always be Broncos jerseys and Broncos shirts and all that stuff. So as a kid, that became my favorite team, and then kind of just solidified as I got older. So I was lucky to you know be part of a fan base that got to win a championship in 2016. So that was cool to see. I do hope that the Vikings can get one of those pretty soon here, though.
Yeah, you got you picked a, like the Vikings are a great team. I love them, but you picked a good team, man. You got Peyton Manning in 2016, and we got a Super Bowl like that. That was a magical season.
Yeah, it was. They were a lot of fun to watch, and they kind of had a couple mediocre years here this little past couple year stretch, but I got a lot of faith that they're going to be one of the top contenders here pretty soon. I think Bo Nix is a good quarterback. He's a rookie, so he's got a lot of room for improvement. But I think he can lead them, to be a playoff team and hopefully a Super Bowl team here pretty soon.
Yeah, Bo Nix. I did not because I kind of saw him as like a potential primetime Andy Dalton, where he was in the earlier years, just because his height and his arm strength. But it's really impressive. Like he's about to go to the playoffs as a rookie. Like that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and I think he's got a pretty good chance. I think it's him or Jaden Daniels for the offensive rookie of the year. I might be forgetting someone, but yeah, he's one of the best draft picks really this this past year, and hopefully he can continue that into the future. I really hope he has a bunch of success.
Do you? How far do you think Denver will go this year?
Oh, I don't know. They're gonna have it. I mean, it's gonna be tough in the AFC in general. I mean, there's some pretty much no matter who they're gonna face in the. I don't know who's gonna get the bye yet, but whoever they're gonna have to face in the first round, whether it's the Ravens or the Bills or maybe even the Chiefs, if someone else gets the bye, it's going to be pretty tough to get through the AFC and even that first round this year. So they're going to have to pull out some magic to make a run this year.
Yeah, it helps having a head coach like Sean Payton. I think he's had a great hand in Bo Nix's development.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, coaching is so important, especially in the NFL. So, I mean, it's important at every level, but it's really tough to win in the NFL, especially without a great head coach. So
that's it. Kind of goes to the Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell saying because he was a backup to Tom Brady back in the early 2000s, and he said it's not always the players that fail the coaches, but the coaches that fail the players because they throw them in too early or they're just because they're always not ready that first year because they're playing against people that are like 10 years older than them. So it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think KOC is one of the best coaches in the NFL, and I think he's putting the pieces together for the Vikings right now to make a Super Bowl run here either this year or one of the following years. But you've seen the way that he's elevated quarterback play on the Vikings, and the way they scheme stuff open is really great to see. It's never really just kind of go win your one-on-one matchup. There's always a lot going on that gets these guys wide open. Like you'd think if you're a defense, there's no way Justin Jefferson should ever be standing by himself. But with how much that happens on the Vikings offense, you got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff.
Yeah, coaching staff has really impressed. I've been watching. I really started watching Vikings seriously in like 2014. That was back when I was in middle school, and this is the first time I really had a good head coach on both sides of the ball. We got Kevin O'Connell and then Brian Flores on defense, and I think this is probably the most complete team we've had since 2009 when we had Brett Favre and that defense. And Sam Darnold always had the potential, but he's never had the head coaches. Like his last three head coaches were Adam Gase, Todd Bowles, who's now having success at Tampa, but with the Jets, he struggled. And Matt Rule, who now is in college. I believe he's struggling there as well. So it's not like he never really had a chance to get like a solid head coach for a majority of his career.
Yeah, and a lot of it too, there's so many factors that go into it. It's the culture around the team. Like there are certain teams in the NFL that just have never won, and you gotta wonder if that's kind of the vibe in the building is that they haven't won, so they don't really feel like they should be winning these games. And a lot of it too is just the weapons they have on each side of the ball. It's a lot better for I don't know who Darnold had before off the top of my head, but having Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to throw to, as well as a great coaching staff behind that. It's it's pretty. It makes it a lot easier to succeed, and he's a talented guy anyway.
Yeah, he's even back. I remember back when he was drafted. Actually, I thought he was going to be a solid quarterback because he just had the arm and he seemed like he had the leadership, which is shown in Minnesota. And I just think he never really got a great opportunity. Like even people were comparing like now having Justin Jefferson, his best receiver he had between Carolina and the New York Jets was Robbie Anderson. Nothing against Robbie Anderson, but comparing him to Justin Jefferson's a whole different level.
Definitely, and if you don't have great weapons around you, it does make it tougher. But especially Darnold came out a little bit early. He was, I think, really 21 when he went into the NFL. Between 21 and 27, what he is now, that's a lot of time to make adjustments and improve. So sometimes, I see they kind of write guys off pretty young, and this guy he's struggling. He's never going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I don't always agree with that. Like, especially with, you see it earlier this year with Bryce Young. There's people saying, "Oh, he's one of the biggest busts ever." But sometimes, I mean, NFL's always win now, but sometimes these guys just need a little bit more time to develop. And look at Bryce Young. The second half of the season has come back and played very, very, very good.
Yeah, it kind of shows that some people just get thrown in way too early. Like Jordan Love, he's a top quarterback in the league, and he was on the bench for 3 years under Aaron Rodgers. So, and that shows sometimes maybe waiting is always better. It's always rushing the quarterback in because maybe he's not ready for that yet because he's still learning the system. Because going to college to NFL is a whole different thing.
Yeah, and my best guess is that these guys that aren't having success are probably, you can tell in practice. When there's no fans watching, I'm sure the coaches see the same stuff that they're seeing on the field. If they're struggling or if they're having success, whatever the situation is, they're able to tell in practice. And I almost wonder if a lot of these guys starting, day one after the draft, or feel like the coaches feel like they're kind of put in that position by the ownership and the GM to, hey, you got to play this guy. We drafted him number 1 or number 2 overall. He doesn't have the benefit of sitting and learning for a year. He's got to play right now. So I almost wonder in a lot of those situations if there isn't some outside influence besides the coaches that's making that guy start when he's 21 instead of giving him an extra year, because it's a big jump from college to the NFL, and it's a very similar jump from high school to college. And you don't see a lot of guys coming to college and be forced to start day one because it's not a great plan for success. And I would like to see that a little bit more in the NFL too.
Yeah, it's actually some of it has been the ownership, and some owners are more involved. Some are more let the GMs and head coaches handle it, do their jobs that they're hired to do. Even the Panthers owner, he eventually became the owner a couple years back. And the former the head coach that was fired before Dave Canales got there, he didn't want Bryce Young originally. He trying to think it was Bryce Young and someone else in that draft. But he actually originally didn't even want Bryce Young. He actually wanted to draft that other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so many quarterbacks coming in; it's hard to kind of keep up with the names and everything. But yeah, Bryce Young wasn't even his first choice. It's like, oh, I'd CJ Stroud. That's it. That's who I'm thinking of. He wanted CJ Stroud originally, and the ownership's like, no, we want Bryce Young. He's looking like he could be like the number 1 quarterback for the next 5 years or 10 years, whatever. The franchise quarterback, and so that's where ownerships get too involved. Even for example, like the Cowboys head coach the owner Jerry Jones. Cowboys are struggling right now because you got too involved. I think if they just let the head coach and GM do their jobs and trust them, I think quarterback wouldn't be thrown in the fire too early, and they would have more opportunities for success.
Yeah. I definitely, I think kind of some teams are seeing it that way as well now because you see the success the Packers have had, for the last 20 years, and they've been letting quarterbacks develop. Patrick Mahomes didn't go out there and start day one after the draft. He had a couple years to learn the speed of the game and elevate his play to match that. And I think I see a lot more quarterbacks that get time to develop, have success, than the ones that are thrown in there right away and get their confidence ruined.
Yeah, for example, I like kind of like the Vikings of Sam Darnold because he was going to be a starter right away, even if JJ would have not gotten hurt. I think it's always smart to have a veteran go in there, and it helps also learn. Like Patrick Mahomes, for example, he learned on Alex Smith, and he speaks a lot about that, like how that helped him in his rookie year, kind of lead into being a starter the following season, which he went to the championship. And that shows a lot, like having a veteran to learn behind, someone that has a lot of experience, especially if they have experience like in the playoffs, I think is very valuable. and have like Sam Darnold with JJ. I think that will be great for when JJ's ready to play. And even recently, Kirk Cousins got benched, and now Appendix is going to be starting now. Even Appendix in this recent conference, he spoke about how much that's helped him in his first year and how like he's learned a lot from Kirk Cousins, like learn under a veteran that's had a lot of experience.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he does. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think like it's not ideal, but I think learning almost the entire season under Kirk Cousins, I think will hopefully help him a lot. Because I think for a rookie right away, it's just always a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
Like, these guys just need some time to learn and get in the flow of things.
That's right, and he's had 15 weeks to practice with the team, so that's better than I think throwing him in there week one after a month of training camp that he's had to practice. He's at least got more time to kind of see what the NFL is about and try to elevate his play to that level as well.
Yeah, you're just saying that. It's wild to think like a month after training camp, you're like, oh yeah, I'm the starter now. I gotta bring my team to the playoffs and make sure they're contending. And it's just it's a crazy thought. I get like, especially as a fan, when you're not an athlete, we don't think about that, and we judge the quarterbacks pretty harshly, especially if they're on our own team.
100%. Yeah, people are very quick to judge it. When it's always easy to criticize someone when you're not doing it yourself. So I see fans online all the time, criticizing this guy or that guy, and it's I don't think it's always right to be so harsh on these guys. Say they're a pile of garbage or whatever people say, and it's like every single player that's on an NFL roster is a super good athlete, and some of them are obviously not as good as others, but every guy there has the ability to be successful for the most part. And sometimes it's the situation they're in, and sometimes it's the cards they've been dealt, and sometimes they're not, they just don't have as much of ability as other guys, but they're still very talented athletes.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And sometimes I have to remind myself, because I can be harsh with some players, especially in my own team, that maybe loses the game by dropping the ball or something like that. And but I've always kept in mind, like, these guys are human. Like, we can kind of almost dehumanize players because we're seeing them on screen, like, oh, these guys get millions, but we got to keep in mind these guys are human, like they see these comments and things like that. Like, I can't imagine if someone said you're garbage, you're trash, like you're not good enough, you shouldn't be here, like that big. Well, like that's a lot, like because you made a mistake, but you shouldn't. I don't think that's always. I don't think no one should be really called all those things, and because it can bring down your confidence significantly. And and especially now there's more awareness on mental health. I think it's always good to keep in mind these guys are humans; they make mistakes.
That's right. I agree.
Now, before we get off here, I wanted to kind of talk about your experience, like the difference between the United States and the Mexico League.
Yeah. I mean, there really isn't too much difference there. I mean, it's the same game we play by NFL rules, so normal football rules. We get a decent amount of fans that are passionate about the game, and I was actually kind of surprised at how many people were football fans down in Mexico. I didn't realize that they had their own college football. I didn't realize that there's youth. It's one of the most popular sports in Mexico, which is kind of surprising to me, because I don't usually view other countries as fanatical about football as we are here in the U.S. But there is a lot of love for football down there, and so yeah, not really too much of a change between football here and in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, man. Like, I haven't really saw the past 2 seasons. Yeah, I've been really focused on the UFL and obviously the NFL. So I'm excited to kind of check that out and see how the games go. Because from what I've seen highlights of your play and just from the game, it seems like it's really exciting, fast paced.
Yeah, it is fun. You should check it out. We'll be starting here in the spring, so yeah, make sure you check it out.
I'm excited, and I was curious, for one that's interested, maybe that want to start getting merchandise. How much are the jerseys and like the merchandise?
Um, I don't know off the top of my head. I know on the where they sell the merchandise is on the brand is called Rio Negro that makes our jerseys. So I know you can get them on there. I'm not sure how much they are, but yeah, Rio Negro it translates to Black Lightning in. So I think it's just rionegro.mx or .com. So you could check it out there, but I'm not sure off the top of my head how much they cost.
No, perfect. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to look into that because it'd be pretty cool to. Yeah, for anyone that's interested in Mexico League, and go on there and get some merchandise and just shows the support. Because there's a couple players from the XFL that have joined. I'm not sure if I'm sure the only one there, but I'm sure a lot of players have been in the league and are
Yeah,
playing on the.
between the XFL and the USFL, there's a lot of guys that are playing either down there or in Europe now.
Yeah, and you guys all hopefully you guys get that UFL give you guys a little bit more opportunities because I feel like it was kind of short lived in the XFL because it was new and a lot of things were going on. So hopefully to give you guys more opportunities to kind of showcase your skills, and regardless, the LFA is a great league to be into. So I'm really excited to check that out, and everyone else I recommend checking it out this spring because it's going to be exciting football.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, thank you, Tommy, for coming on, and also good luck on our fantasy league because you look like you're about to kick some ass.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. I mean, you don't got any control over it. You just after the draft, you kind of just hope your players stay healthy and do well. But we'll see. Hopefully I can win it.
Yeah, I got knocked out first round by my cousin who barely scraped by. I'm like, man, I don't even know how that happened. I'm Derrick Henry and Don HN and all these top players, the same Brown, and I still lost.
Yeah, that's the way it goes in fantasy sometimes, especially in the playoffs. You could have 10 wins. If your players, are injured or don't have a good week, there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. But yes, thank you for coming on again, man, and thank you for sharing your journey because it's like it was awesome. It's not always an easy journey, but you're having a lot of success, and it shows that even if it doesn't work out in a different league, doesn't mean you can't work in another and produce at a high level.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate your kind words, man.
Of course, brother. You have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye.